7 jumper cable questions to ask yourself to get your personal engine started. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And I've been doing some reading, some research, always looking for new ways to bring my points across and also to learn more. And I came upon an article from someone that's recently become one of my greatest authors that I like to read his articles, a gentleman named Thomas Opung. But here's kind of the ironic thing. I read his article and had a completely different viewpoint on it, and I want to share with you the why and because, and most importantly, how you can get yourself jump started, just kind of like putting some jumper cables on the engine to get yourself going. First thing is, the title of his article, Thomas Opung, O-P-P-O-N-G, is 7 better questions you can ask to start a conversation with absolutely anyone. Beautiful questions for making a meaningful connection with others. Well, I took a look at his questions, and we're going to use his questions because these are the ones that will help you jumpstart yourself. But I strongly disagree with his conclusion that if you ask these questions, you're going to be able to start a conversation with anyone. And here's why I say that. Being someone that has a big sales background, one of the things that you are taught as a salesperson is when you're trying to get a conversation going, always ask people questions where either A, the answer is obvious, that they know the answer, or B, it's something that you've given them the answer in the question. That's how you get a conversation going. As an example, if I were to ask somebody that I didn't know, so tell me, what are your thoughts on climate change? What are your thoughts on, that type of thing? Or what are your thoughts on, atomic issues? These are like very heavy questions. And when you ask a question like that in a conversation, the first thing that the other person has to do is go, and they got to start thinking. And thinking isn't bad, don't get me wrong. But if you want to start a conversation, if you want to develop a relationship, you want to ask questions where the person is, quote unquote, an expert, and they can give you stuff and they can start teaching you right away, right off the top of their head. So when you ask somebody, for example, their name, okay, that's an easy question. When you say, how many children do you have? What do you do for a living? All right, these are questions that people know right off the top of their head, and that's how you get a conversation started, by working with those types of questions. But when you ask somebody a question where they have to think, it creates an awkward silence and there's an uncomfortable aspect to the conversation, and that's not how you get a conversation to flow. And like I said, the other way is to give somebody the answer to the question, give the person the answer right in the question. So who are you looking to vote for? Are you looking more towards Trump or towards Biden? I've given them the answer to the question. They don't have to do a lot of heavy thinking. Does that make sense? But let's get to the questions, because the questions that Mr. Opung used to make what, in my opinion, is a conclusion that's not correct, but let's use those questions to get yourself jump-started. So I want to go over with these, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The first question he asks her is, what are you most grateful for right now in this moment? Now, if you ask that of somebody that you don't, particularly know, what's the first thing they're going to do? What is it that I'm grateful for right now at this moment? But when you ask that question to yourself, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a place to focus on things that you're already grateful for. And when you establish that attitude of gratitude, what it does is it opens up the corridor of communication between you and the infinite mind. So this is one of the objectives that is critical to people's creative success, is getting input from the infinite mind. And by expressing an attitude of gratitude, that helps with that corridor. Are you working on any exciting personal projects lately? Once again, if you ask that somebody else, what am I, am I working on something right now? But when you ask that question of yourself, you're saying, okay, what is my purpose? What is my goal? What is my objective? What project is worthy? What would be an exciting, interesting project? If you don't have one, that can be part of the issue, can't it? What's working well for you right now? Well, when you do that, then you have to take stock on your particular skills, your particular attributes, your strengths, so that it's always a good idea to work with your strengths rather than your weaknesses. Because if you're working with your strengths, that's time that people enjoy the things that they're good at. And secondly, if there's something that you're not good at, it's better to kind of farm that out. I'll give you an example. Here I am talking to you in this channel. This is something that comes relatively easily for me. These are things that I know. These are things that are simple. But if you tell me, hey, you need to take this and you need to put it so that we can put it on a YouTube channel, then I become Jackie Gleason. Humana. All right? So that's why I have somebody with more skills, somebody where that's an area of expertise for them. That's their strength. I focus on my strength and I rely on them to use their strength to put the pieces together. It's much like, bringing my car in to be repaired. I possibly could, with a lot of work, with a lot of effort, figure out why my car is making that noise. But why should I do that when I can give it to somebody who that's their area of expertise, that's their strength? Let them go with it. My time is better spent using my strength, particularly from a financial perspective, because when I spend my time doing what I know, I make more money than trying to do something that I don't know. Does that make sense? What shows, podcasts, or books are you making time for right now? Okay, how are you refilling what goes on in here? What new things are you adding to your head? Because when you add new ideas, new thoughts, it gives you new perspectives on things and allows your creative juices to flow a little bit more. You see something more. You see something that you hadn't thought of before. You put 2 things together or 3 things together or 5 things together and you make it cohesive and you make it workable. Does that make some sense to you as well? All right, it's sort of the opposite of chunking something down. All right, it's sort of like chunking something up. The more you have out there, the more options it gives you. So you want to have as many options, and then what you want to do is, of course, focus on getting from where you are to the ultimate objective of what you're going to do with those options. What do you do to get rid of stress? Okay, this is a question that you want to ask yourself, and there's a real simple answer to it. You decide each and every day your own attitude. That's not something that somebody takes a bucket of water and throws it on you and says, okay, you're going to be wet all day. It doesn't work that way. You decide what your personal attitude is going to be. And how do you do that? This is key. Every single day, at the beginning of your day, you want to give yourself, and we've talked about this forever and ever, and successful people do this. That's why I'm stressing it. Give yourself that quiet thinking time. Included in that quiet thinking time is what we've talked about already, an attitude of gratitude. At least 20 things that you're grateful for, and it can range anything from orange juice to electricity to your son, your daughter, your family, your occupation, your health insurance, the money you're making, the fact that it's summer, the fact that you're alive, that you don't have the virus, the fact that you did have the virus and you've overcome the virus. I mean, there are so many different things we can be thankful for when we stop and think about it. And so make sure you give yourself 20 things, and then let your mind wander. And when your mind wanders, it goes different places. And let it do that. Let it do that. Relax. Get rid of the stress. Create an attitude of accomplishment. by visualizing something that you want to see done. And by doing this in the morning, when you clear your mind, you're grateful. Now I've cleared my mind. What that does is you will receive better input from the universal mind, from the infinite mind, when you are in a relaxed state. So make yourself grateful and then put yourself in a relaxed state. Let your mind wander. Let the infinite mind communicate with you. And it does so in bits and pieces. So be careful to capture the bits and pieces. It doesn't come whole. Sometimes you have to put the pieces together. As a matter of fact, most of the time you have to put the pieces together. A great idea doesn't come to you in one big lump. It comes in bits and pieces. Keep that in mind. And once again, remember, how many times have you been thinking about something, and then in a moment when you're brushing your teeth or you're driving or something, bingo, the name of that person comes to mind, you were in a relaxed state. That is a key thing to remember. I don't know why it works that way, but the infinite mind will give you more ideas when you are relaxed than when you are, all stressed up. So you want to make sure that you give yourself that quiet thinking time, express gratitude, let your mind wander, and open up the toll gates so that the infinite mind can communicate with you. And it doesn't happen every single day, but it happens enough times so that you will recognize the virtue of putting yourself in a relaxed position so that you will be a better receiver of input from the ultimate partner, the infinite mind. What would your perfect weekend look like? That's Mr. Ropung's sixth question. Remember, he's asking these questions, you ask somebody else and have them communicate with you. But as I say, you got to stop and think about these things. That's what makes them so great about using it for yourself to jumpstart your own engine than it is to create a conversation with somebody, because that thinking time, that awkward pause in a conversation it's an uncomfortable awkwardness. So what would your perfect weekend be? Well, you visualize how you want to reward yourself, what you want to be doing. It's okay to visualize things like that, just as you visualize outcomes that you want to achieve, the serious outcomes. Then you need to also reward yourself, and reward yourself with a pleasant outcome. For me, that's like going to the beach, going to Maine, traveling, going to the Caribbean, things of that nature. Those would be some of the things that would be my snorkeling, all right, one of the things I really love to do. So, but what is it for you? How would you reward yourself for achievement? That's a good question to ask. And finally, the seventh question that Mr. Ropung asks is, what are you looking forward to in the future? And what does that do? That allows your brain to put together some of the things that you've experienced, as the dessert tray of life goes past, and you try this and you try that, so on, and then you get to visualize things that you want to see happen in your life. What is it that you're looking forward to? So these 7 questions are perfect for jump-starting your engine. Not so perfect for starting a conversation and establishing a relationship with somebody that you don't know, but perfect for you to look inside of yourself and say, where am I now? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? So give yourself that quiet thinking time, ask yourself these questions, and it will help to move you forward. The people that are the most successful ask the best questions. And to be candid with you, these are 7 great questions that you should be asking yourself. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, we always ask the right questions and we get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.